Hi everyone, my name is Anusha Krishnan and I am a popular science writer and I'm also a very avid reader. And ever since I began reading, I think I've always been drawn towards fiction. Okay, so today I'm going to bring out I'm going to talk about four fiction books that I really like and one non-fiction book which I have very recently started to read. Okay, so the first book that I'm going to be talking about today is Bloodchild by Octavia E. Butler. Now, Bloodchild is a collection of short stories where I think each and every story looks at how humans are no longer the alpha species. Okay, so it talks about how humans can be subjected by other species, and somehow despite the fact that several of the stories are fairly gory, there is a certain beauty to these stories, and I really appreciate the way that Butler has written these stories. So my favorite amongst this set of stories is Bloodchild, that particular story. And this collection of stories is also one of the very rare ones which is based on biology. Most of the sci-fi stories that I have read of are either to do with space travel or with androids or with robots and AI and all of that stuff. But this is one of those rare stories which is based on a biological science fiction premise. So the story goes that there is a colony of insectoid beings that use humans as growth chambers for their young. Okay, so despite the fact that it's fairly gory, it comes out that this story is not just about a parasite human relationship, it's also a story about that relationship stemming out of love. So somebody pointed out that Bloodchild is actually a love story between two different species. And that's something that I had not really thought about when I read the book. And it's just opened up so many different things, so many different angles to the story that I've not really thought about. The second book that I'm going to be talking about today is The Color of Magic by Terry Pratchett. This is a fantasy fiction book, and I think the reason why I really love this book, and I still go back to reading it, I must have read it about 40 to 50 times now, is that it's just the language. Terry Pratchett writes with such a love for fun. Okay, and I still remember one of my favorite quotes from here is about how this man is being described. Okay, so Terry Pratchett, the author, is describing how the sidekick for this absolutely terrible crime mafia boss, how he feels working for the boss. He says, working for Imer is the crime boss, working for Imer was like being gently flogged to death with scented bootlaces. So it's just, I really love the way he plays around with words. And the whole premise of the story is also something that I like. It's set on a flat world. It's called Discworld. Okay, so it's a flat earth which rides on the back of four elephants, which in turn rides on the back of this giant turtle that's swimming through space. The fact that this whole situation is based on Indian mythology is another thing that really drew me towards Terry Pratchett. So I had great fun reading this book. Terry Pratchett has a whole series of fantastic books, and if you do give him a try, I think everyone should give him a try. The third book that I'm going to be talking about today is My Family and Other Animals. And the reason why I love this book is that it talks about one of my favorite things, which is essentially animals, and the love that Gerald Durrell that he brings out, the love that he has for animals, certainly comes out in this book. And me and my family are essentially animal mad. We have a dog, and my daughter has, a host of cats that she feeds. We've been, foster parents to squirrels, to another host of other animals that have been in and out of our house. So in a way, we actually feel drawn to this book because of the parallels between what Gerald Durrell writes about in his past, in his childhood, and what we go through as a family ourselves. Okay. The last book that I'm going to be talking about is Right Kind of Wrong by Amy Edmondson. This is one of the very rare books that is non-fiction, which I have recently read and have begun to appreciate. This is a book about psychology and the psychology of how we as humans deal with things when they go wrong? How do we deal with failure? So Amy Edmondson puts across some very, very nice theories about how people should look at failure. We shouldn't be looking at the fact that, we should always stop failure. That's pretty much an impossible task. But how do you handle failure? That is what she talks about. And I think that this is a fantastic book that should be read by just about everybody, from a scientist to somebody who's heading a business. This book has very important concepts that can be applied to just about every aspect of life. So those are my shelf picks for today, the 4 books, and I hope you enjoy them.